Um, I want to tell you a bit about the young adults retreat we will organize this summer. I will tell you why we want to do it. I think that's perhaps the most important thing, and also how we want to do it. And at the end, what you can do, perhaps. If we still have time, I will time you. I get 15 minutes, I suppose. Um, I can present you perhaps the little invitation video, marvelous, done by a new comic duo. We'll see. This is a bit the main picture we will use for publicity. Young people who are supporting each other to look to a new way of living, one in mind, one in heart, as friends, as a little community. And we hope by organizing the Young Adults Retreat that they get a sense of what's the feeling of being in that place together, looking to your life, looking together to your life, and to have a new experience, which can be a kind of perhaps sometimes disruptive, but their own life that they had before, their own life. If perhaps the question comes to your mind, well, how is Bonnevo doing with young people? Are there young people at Bonnevo? Well, for the moment, there are 4 young people living with us. Sini is already here for 6 months, Milena for 3.5 months. Nick will be for a whole year, and Anneliese from Trinidad just arrived, will be here for 2 months. And yeah, they feel at home here, I can assure that. And it's for me always very heartwarming to see that Father Lawrence takes a lot of time to have meetings with them, discuss with them, to guide them. And I'm sure that all those meetings, also with us from the core community, will have their that they are supportive for those young people. Yeah. And you see also many other names, people who passed here during the last 2.5 years. For me, the most hopeful sign is that they keep in touch with us, or they have a little commitment to the WCCM community. That's the most, or they just come back, and that's a very hopeful sign for me. Yeah. On the other hand, perhaps the question comes, how is it in the worldwide community? Are the meditation groups with young adults? Well, a few weeks ago, we got a report from Kat Houston, who is coordinating the national communities. And here you see the list of countries and the amount of groups that are present in those. Yeah. You see China, Indonesia is quite active, USA, Australia. And if you make the addition, we come to a bit more than 50 groups for young adults. I was very surprised to hear that. I'm very glad, makes me very happy. Yeah. To see that these young adults find each other within our worldwide community. How am I personally involved? Why am I doing this? Well, as Angelina told you, I spiritually grew up in Taizé. Of course, I was in Belgium, but every year I went for a few weeks to Taizé. And I know by my own experience that it's very important for a young person to have a kind of spiritual home, especially when you're a seeker, when your close friends are not on the same path, And then it's very important to have a kind of basis where you can go back and to be nourished, to receive some wisdom, and to meet friends there. And even for me personally, I received my calling there, that God asked me, give yourself to me wholly, yeah, to the full. Took me 40 years until I came here to Bonneau to give my full response to it. But the fact that I got my calling there, that is such an important point in my life. And I hope to give this, to offer this also to other young people, because I know how important a spiritual home is for when you're young. On the other hand, for me, meditation, which I discovered in '99, has made a huge change in my life. And what I already discovered in Thésée, a kind of contemplative Christianity, unfolded more by the practice of meditation. And it was really, and is still, of course, a source of life and love. And it's still unfolding, like John Maines, he tells it's unfolding in an infinite way. It's infinite unfolding of life and love. And this personal discovery, that would be very nice to pass it on to younger people who ask for it. And we take always a good care of when people want to come, when they ask, also, for example, when they want to come as a volunteer. We take good care of the whole process before they come. If it will be a very good match between themselves and Bonneau, if they can find what they are seeking for, and that we can offer them what they really want. And I think also community life here gives a lot of opportunities for them to develop some skills. Not that it's the most important, but it's the whole picture of being here in a community, being supported, and you can be as you are. I remember the words from Emilia. She said me when she came here for the Easter retreat, this is really my home. I can be here as I am. And it was very heartwarming what she said there. Okay. Why should we organize a young adults retreat? And now I zoom out a bit. First of all, what I already said, gift of meditation. You notice in yourself a difference, an improving of the quality of your life. And as soon as you discover that, you want to pass on the gift of meditation to others. So, yeah, that's all our mission. This is what we are urged to. We must do it from our inside, from our heart. But we also want and support young adults who want to grow in that. What's the theme of this year in unified consciousness? And I was thinking about it a bit more intensely last week and even before. If you hear the modern mystic thinkers like Cynthia Bourgeot and Ken Wilber, and also Lawrence is speaking about this, we are in a particular time where we can notice signs of a unified consciousness, a growing unified consciousness. This morning I listened again to the talk from Cynthia Bourgeot from a few weeks ago about unified consciousness, and she was speaking about the history of consciousness. You can have a map of how consciousness is evolving, and as you know, she speaks about the time that humanity was in a pre-conscious phase from before 3000 BC. Until now, we are, let's say, in the conscious way of behaving and living, that we are aware of what we are doing, that we are not anymore in the mythical state of consciousness, what was pre-conscious, that we are arranging our world, that we are analyzing, that we use our left brain, which evolved from 17th century in a very analytical way of looking to the world in how all the different aspects of life, as medicine, as sociology, psychology, economics, politics, which started about 500 BC with, as we speak for Europe, then with the Greeks, until now. But now we see that there is a kind of shift happening, and Cynthia and Ken Wilber and Lawrence, they talk about it. And we can speak about a transconscious awareness of looking at the world, a new view that is emerging. And I think it's very important to tell this to young adults, because all those forces of the conscious way and the transconscious way of living are living still together, because we not made the transformation yet in this totally. And so I can imagine that it for young adults is not so easy to live with those polarizations, divisions, different kinds of looking to reality. And when you read Ken Wilber, he speaks then about integral wisdom. He says, he dares to say that we are now already, when you consider the world population, we are between 5 and 10% of the world population is already in that state of unified consciousness. And that's very supporting for me. Yeah? We are on our way. He says that in the 70s, we were at 1%. So it's growing and growing. Yeah? And you can't stop it. Yeah? But what we need is 25% to really have a little huge difference and transformation. Yeah? And he is also talking about when an adult can reach that state of integral wisdom. And he speaks about being 35 years. For some, it's earlier, for others, it is later. So it is really important that we with WCCM support those young adults who are really at the rim of tumbling in that integral wisdom, in that unified consciousness, and are being capable of making a switch in their own life, that we support those young people. And how we want to do that. Yeah. I think the young adults really gives a taste of how life can be. And I will present with the different elements. Yeah.
He hasn't been able to come home for many years, and
disturbance. Okay. I think the Young Adults Retreat gives some answers to some needs from young adults, and especially when there's a combination with meditation, which is the basics of the retreat. Perhaps the answers and the answers in its totality gives a sense for young adults what is contemplative life, what is life as a contemplative in 2022. Yeah. For example, if you are a seeker, you want to investigate how is a new way of living. Perhaps in your education, your left brain is very well educated, very well trained, but your right brain, which creates new ways of looking to reality, also must be developed. And we give an answer in our retreat by creating creative spaces. People will be instructed by more trained meditators to do some creative writing, body work, drama, creative and contemplative photography, creative painting, and that gives another way of experiencing yourself, especially when it's together with the practice of meditation, where the letting go of all ways of thinking about yourself, that reinforces that new way of living, and gives new possibilities, new views on themselves. When a young adult needs guidance, we will provide moments of having contact with the mentor. Yeah, that is in the last years when we organized the Young Adults Retreat, that was one of the most, what we get in the feedback as the most appreciated element, the short meeting every day with a mentor. Yeah? And especially when it's combined with the meditation practice, we know that Jesus is our teacher. We get also a kind of guidance from within, and for young adults, it's nice to discover that it is possible to listen to that teacher. When young adults experience loneliness, being separate, being too different from others, it looks like a bit paradoxically, but we will also try to organize times of solitude after the creative space. So it's in combination there, where they can experience that having time on your own can be very creative, very life-giving, and especially when it's combined with the practice of meditation, where John Main tells us, really, when you go in meditation, you're really on the path of accepting the gift of your own being. The times of solitude are times of discovering their own uniqueness and not so much their loneliness and their separateness. So I think that's a good way of dealing with loneliness. Of course, there are some teachings. Father Lawrence will present some new wisdom and vision of how to deal with your life and how to look at the world, especially from the point of view of unified consciousness. We make a connection with the body through yoga, which will be our perfect teacher is Giovanni, of course, and work on the land. And of course, meditation brings you very close to your body just by the practice of stillness, which is a good preparation and a good way of receiving the silence will emerge then in your inner being. what me always strikes me, and I suffer in a way that quite some young people have to deal with fear. Fear about themselves, low self-esteem, or fear for the world. And climate change is, for example, a theme that often comes back. Fear. I think we can support this to deal with the fear by trust in each other, to have companions and friends, and also by offering them meaning or discover meaning in their life, also through the practice of meditation, where you are really, you can just be with being with our God, who is being and who loves us, and that can build up a new trust in their life and in themselves. A lot of young people also want to commit themselves. We will give them ideas about climate change, about peace. A lot of people are also very involved in movements about social injustice or poverty. And I think that the main importance of inserting the unified consciousness, it's not you and your own who works for this and commit yourself to this project, but it's because you are a spiritual being with a human experience, that when you act from that source, from that unified consciousness, the commitment that you do personally is put in a totally different picture for yourself. More supportive, more sustaining, and yeah, we hope we can support young adults in that way. We always try to make a follow-up. Yeah, I know from previous retreats that there were new meditation groups existing and still going on, so that's a very hopeful sign also. I don't do this alone. There is a youth council. You see to the left Taina, she is the international coordinator for young adults in WCCM. And you see other people who are forming the council. Hey, yeah, Heidi from Belgium, Sergio from Brazil, Naomi from Australia, Kit from Singapore, and Jonathan and Nick from the US. They are forming the council, and they are preparing with us this young adult retreat. They are more experienced meditators and guides, so this is wonderful that they can. The retreats will be held in person at Bonnevo and also online, and I can really say we will try to make the online offer as valuable, as dense, as precious as the in-person retreat at Bonnevo. We have the special platform My WCCM. Every participant who subscribes for the online version of the retreat will receive several initiatives, several movies, all translated in Portuguese, Spanish, and English, of course, because the Portuguese and Spanish, we will want to reach really the South American community and young adults there, and Taina is doing a very good job there. Good. What can you do? I invite you to invite young adults that you know in a personal way. Write them an email. Yeah. You can also use the invitation we already sent to the national coordinators. That was last Monday. They received the invitation for this young adults retreat, and with the links, necessary links to register yourself for this retreat. You can also think about sponsoring a person by yourself or in the community of your country. And I also hope you can support this retreat with your prayer. It's good that we as adults, we can form a circle and embrace those initiatives for young adults. I think it's important to do that in our heart. Inevitably they will feel it. If you have other questions about this retreat, please contact me. You see my email address there. I show you some little pictures from previous, I've almost come to an end with the presentation from previous retreats. So you work on land, lovely barbecues, meetings, Eucharists with Lawrence, singing and making joy together, having fun, work, here they're cleaning the river, little plays, working on the land, walking together. So, and to conclude, I want to present you the one of the two invitation videos we made. May I present you a new comic duo, Lawrence and Giovanni. I hope you will hear the sound.
This is a little invitation to join us for the Young Adults Retreat at Bonvaux. Now this is not where we are at the moment, because we are somewhere else. We are, you can't, Giovanni is trying to find out where we are. We are on Bear Island. There we are, okay. But this is not where we're going to be for the retreat, which is going to be in Bonvaux, where we're going back to in a couple of days.
They both start with B.
But this retreat begins on the date?
Well, end of July, and it's 8 days, end of July into beginning of August, and you should come because it's a wonderful retreat. We've been working on it since 2019 when we had the first one, and what's wonderful about it is that you get teaching on meditation, and we meditate together,
And food,
and lovely barbecues.
yeah.
And then linked to the body yoga, which we do every day.
Even if you're stiff and unable to do yoga, he can teach you to do it very nicely.
Yeah. Actually, no, Lawrence is very good at yoga. Yeah. And then, but then the thing that people love the most in the feedbacks from the past retreats is that you have time, one-to-one time with somebody, and then you have also we do a lot of work on how to journal, how to track your experience and where you're being called to in your life. So we do creative writing, creative drawing, journaling, and there's time for solitude. Oh,
And don't forget there's time for meditation.
and work, lots of work.
Joining in the life of the community,
Yeah.
working on the land, working with all sorts of different creative ways, working in your heart to shed and lose what you need to let go of.
But also dancing and singing, actually.
Yeah, we can do a bit of that
We do
too,
a lot of
yeah.
that too.
So anyway, we're very hopeful that you will come, because we really had a wonderful week 2 years ago. 3 years
And
3
the
years
online
ago.
one the year before last,
Online
was very good.
as well, but it's a little even more fun when it's in person. So,
I'm sure Tina will add to this, Tina and Geert will add to this description and give you more information. Right?
yep, and the weather is beautiful that time of the year, so we'll be doing
Not like this.
a lot of that. So no, that's why we're not having it on Bear Island, actually. One good
Actually, it's
reason
been
why.
so sunny here the whole time.
Yes, that's-
So come and visit, come and meditate with us Come and grow together and come and become community. See you soon.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
So, thank you for your attention, and I hope we can receive a lot of young adults with your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Geert. Father Lawrence.
Thank you, Angeline. Yes, thank you very much for wonderful presentation on our coming retreat, and very appropriate for our centenary meeting today. I think we'll go straight into the meditation, but I want to thank you. Maybe just point out one thing that struck me in what you said, which is the connection between community and meditation, and the experience of young people in their search for community and interiority. And that perhaps is one of the great discoveries of the modern world, and one of our sources of hope for the future, that we can find community, communion, unity through contemplation, through deep in the inner journey.